Welcome to Conversations. I'm Suresh Kochati. President Donald Trump has been in office for just about 6 weeks now, and he has created enough havoc now. Havoc so much that since he won the election, he's been saying one thing after another. And after he took oath on January the 20th, we are now into 4 weeks. But he has created enough impact across the world, from Ukraine to Canada to Mexico, and of course now to India. Heads of state from 6 countries have met him. And I believe the Australian Prime Minister is the one who's been desperately trying to contact Trump, but Trump is not even picking up his call. And we all know the reason for it. But beyond all that, today's announcement had something for India too: tariffs. President Trump is speaking of tariffs. He's already implemented tariffs in certain countries like China. He's slapping them on Mexico and Canada. And he's talking of a retaliatory tariff when it comes to countries like India and most of other countries, including those in the EU. To discuss all this and more, I have with me one of the best political minds, analyst par excellence, Giridhar Mamidi garu. And Giridharji, namaskar, sir.
Namaste, Sureshji. Namaste. Thanks for inviting me.
So, without further ado, I know you just come from the hot seat in Delhi and you are here back in our terra firma. Just want to know from you in your thought process. I let you do all the talking now. What did Trump have in mind when he talked of retaliate? We can understand tariffs against China, against other countries, but what is retaliatory tariffs? So, if you can expound on that and go on, sir, continue.
Yeah, Sureshji, point is over the last few decades, I would say at least 3 to 4 decades, from the early 90s onwards till now, America deindustrialized itself. They wanted to focus on, soft power, into things like technology and, that kind of a stuff. So what happened is the core of USA, which actually was the one which gave America its strength in the past, that has been steadily transferred out to China or to Southeast Asia or to other countries, especially Mexico and Canada. So what has happened is, one, you see clean blue skies in USA, but a huge white population has been thrown out of the equation of their economy. So they are like forced to live on Social Security, and there's a huge amount of disgruntlement. If you see the East Coast and West Coast, completely vote for Democrats. So these places, both the East and West, they are predominantly into all these things, banking, into IT, services, all kinds of stuff. The core industry, it could be mining, it could be drilling, or it could be processing, manufacturing, or, that kind of a stuff. All that is in the central USA and places like Texas and all that places. And they heavily tend to vote for Republicans. So it's more an economical thing. Earlier it was religious, but now it has turned more economical related voting pattern. So what is Trump doing is, Trump thinks that he's going to reindustrialize the country. Now, all this entire story of tariffs and retaliatory tariffs, it's plain knowledge that it is going to hurt USA, right? The cost for the end consumer is going to be high. See, because US doesn't produce anything. They don't even produce toilet paper. Should China stop the toilet paper, I don't know what America is going to do. So they've transferred out all their manufacturing and manufacturing related technology to these countries. So by imposing a tariff, he's going to hurt the US population. But then there is a method in his madness. He wants to push these countries to such an extent where the next round would be that they would do some correction and they would have to pass on some kind of a benefit to the USA, because some of these countries have huge trade, surplus against USA, including India, for instance. Bharat, we also have huge trade surplus around $40-45 billion. Of course, China is huge. So anything between $250-300 billion trade deficit, most of these countries have. Big countries, big trading partners of US. That is US's own making. But now Trump wants to reverse it. And it can't be reversed in 1 year, 2 years, 4 years, or whatever. What has been built over many decades, you can't dismantle it and reassemble it over a very short period. So this is the problem. So Trump's solutions are at best, kind of a dhamki or a kind of pressure tactic and nothing more. Beyond that, once his economy starts hurting, then I don't know how he's going to handle it. But for him, probably in the next 2-3 years, he'll manage it somehow. And he is not going to stand for election next time. So he can wash his hands off and walk off. This is the issue there. You see, the maximum tariffs is imposed on Canada and Mexico, not even on China. China, he imposed 10%, then he increased it to 20%. Okay. For us, it is a reciprocal tax. We are more than happy with reciprocal tax because what happens is the very term reciprocal means if I buy X product from you and I charge a certain customs duty on it, let's say 10%. When you buy the same product from me, you will also charge the same 10%. Now, what's happening is what we are buying from USA don't fall in the same line as what I'm exporting you. So we have a serious mismatch. For instance, some of the things that the US import from us are diamonds, processed diamonds, not the raw ones. Surat and all these Gujarat industries, they produce cut diamonds. So US is a huge consumer of diamonds, right? So diamonds, polished, processed diamonds, US imports, jewelry it imports. So what happens is you are catering to a segment which doesn't care if there is a fluctuation a little this way or that way, right? But so if our jewelry and our diamonds are going to be a little more expensive in USA by another 10% or whatever, we are okay with it. Because America is not exporting that to us, right? So even if you put zero tax in that, it will be retaliatory. So it's good for us. It's not going to hurt us at all. The second biggest component is petroleum products. We buy raw crude from USA, Russia, and the Middle East, or we shouldn't say it Middle East, by the way, sorry. Let's call it West Asia. Terms make a lot of sense. So anyway, so we buy from all these guys, from Nigeria, from Venezuela, Brunei, wherever we get competitive pricing, we buy from anybody. So right, so this is processed in our refineries, especially Reliance refinery. Reliance strength is that they process all these things and then export processed petroleum products. The hypocrisy of the West is this: they try to push us not to buy oil from Russia on the stage in front of a camera, but behind the scene, we process the Russian oil and sell it to these same guys. So USA is a big beneficiary of processed petroleum products from Russia via Bharat. So if he's going to impose tariffs on us, good luck to him. He wants to cut down the street price of the petroleum products. And he's saying drill, baby, drill, and all that stuff. Okay, you drill it, but do you have the refinery capacity? You transferred that out because you wanted to maintain green, blue skies. So now somebody is doing that dirty work for you. So we are doing it for you. So it's not going to happen overnight. These are all greenfield projects. If we're going to start now, probably they'll start producing in 4, 5, 6 years from now. So it's not going to happen. So we are not going to be hurt. Now, the most typical thing he speaks about is Harley Davidson. In last time also he spoke about it. Of course, we imposed very high tariffs on imported motor vehicles, be it cars or luxury scooters or whatever it is. We had this concept of socialism and all. And so all luxury products are taxed, bone dry. But that's fine. Point is, assuming that we completely lift all customs duties on Harley Davidson, how many are going to buy in this country? One. I mean, they could at best sell, maybe if they're selling 5,000 scooters, bikes this year, maybe they're assuming they sell 10,000, even if it doubles up. Big deal here. Just imagine Hero Honda, look at TVS and all these guys, big players in the two-wheeler market. They have the king's chunk, they have more than 70-80% of the chunk. And the rest of the players are going to play in just a small pool. So it's not going to make any difference to them, whether we put a barrier, trade barriers or whatnot. Second, problem with America, which Trump is not realizing, is they are in a dinosaur era right now. Point is their technology. You look at all their the General Motors, Ford, Chrysler, or all these guys, their technology is outdated long back. Countries like Japan, countries like China have gone, ages away, ages ahead. So for somebody to buy American products in competition to these modern vehicles, there's no competition at all actually. So if I'm getting, let's say, 20 lakh worth of a Ford car here versus a 20 lakh worth of, let's say Mahindras or even Safari or whatever. I would rather prefer these things because it, Sureshji. Ford commercially they could not manage this market and they had to quit this country. Now they are again coming back. So this is the problem with American products. Their technology is outdated. The solutions they are giving are absolutely outdated, and they are trying to dump their products into markets where the culture is different, their approach is different. We are very cost sensitive, unlike in the US. So for us, I'm sure you saw the cartoon, right? Somebody takes one of our billionaires, Ambani or somebody, to NASA's propulsion center, and he says this can travel at X thousand kilometers per second or whatever, and explains all the beautiful features of that rocket. And this guy in the cartoon, he says, mileage kitna deta hai? So the point is, we don't care. For us, that is important. They're petro guzzlers, and the technology is so outdated. The world has completely moved on. And by the way, we are number 3 today in terms of vehicle production. We have actually overtaken Japan. Bharat is number 3 today. Of course, China and then USA, and third is Bharat. So, many other countries are catching up. So if you want to put reciprocal tariffs, good luck to you, Mr. Trump. It doesn't hurt us.
That's right? True. That's so
true. I would largely see that in that perspective, that I think we are smart. We are cushioned. We don't have to expose ourselves. We'll watch the fun. And even now, we have only reciprocal tariffs on us. We don't have fixed tariffs like 25% on Canada, Mexico, or 20% on China. So all those guys would want to come and set shop in our country and then put that chapa of made in Bharat and then export back to USA, which is what China did via Mexico, right? They will try and do via our country. Good for us. We'll get more investment, more technology, and our brand value will go up. So we can now play a game, and then we can impose conditions on all these guys. We could do a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that's exactly the point.
I'm not at all afraid of Trump's tariffs at all. I'm pretty comfortable, pretty cool. I welcome whatever he's doing. It'll help me, and in the long run, America will have a serious problem.
In fact, a couple of interesting points you mentioned. One was regarding oil. Now, America says we will go for deep drill, baby, we'll drill all the shale oil out and we will do that. But the question you rightly said, where about the refining? Where they get the refining done? They have to get the refining done somewhere. They have to set up refining plants, which will take time. But the question is very simple. Is that if that is the case, he wants to sell the oil abroad, then the naturally retaliatory tariff in India will kick in, and we won't buy from somebody whom we are going to put 10 to 20% on that. Harley Davidson, same case, as you explained. If somebody is rich enough to buy Harley Davidson, they wouldn't mind 10, 30, 40% also. They would still buy. That is not an issue. But the main point is one of the sticky things. Okay, diamonds still, as you said, they can take it. Pharmaceuticals. We don't buy much of pharmaceuticals from US. It's only those drugs which are still on patent, which we may kind of import from there. But when you talk of putting some kind of duty on pharmaceutical, it's again going to hurt the US consumer more than the Indian consumer, isn't it? And we are price sensitive. I'm sure they are also price sensitive. And most of these companies, Indian companies, which make it, are doing off-patent drugs. The general thing is that way. That's the way it goes. We were in APS, we got out of APS. My question is, forget the diamonds, forget the bikes. What is it that US can hurt us with, Mr. Giridhar?
Well, actually, I'm struggling to find any product which is going to hurt us. Right now, point is the whole structure, the trade structure between US and Bharat is such that we don't buy what we are selling them, and vice versa. So literally, there is nothing much they can do about it, right? It's just notional stuff that we do. Modi ji can suddenly reduce tariffs of some of the products, making Trump happy, and it really means nothing for us. That's it, nothing more. What we need from US is defense technology, right? This is something which, Soviet Union and Russia are past. Yes, they have solid strengths. The engineering technology of Russia is extremely solid. China is unable to replicate it even now, right? The kind of technology, cost-effective technology, let me put it that way. When US was putting up satellites in solidified hydrogen and oxygen, these guys were sending with kerosene, right? So the Russian and Soviet Union technology is very cost-effective, which is what was helping us, a cost-sensitive country like us. But the new age technologies, be it the artificial intelligence or be it disruptive technologies and quantum, computing and what have you, all these new age technologies, Russia is fallen behind. Even in the warfare, you see, when they are claiming they have S-400 and S-500s and all, why is it that they're unable to stop Ukrainian attacks deep into Moscow, deep into Russia? Their air defenses are not great. And Russian fighter jets are not risking entering into Ukrainian space. So all our assets are completely, Russian, be it your MiGs or be it your, rest of the stuff, Sukhois and all. The point is, our future is with technology giants like USA. So we got to play this balancing act. Currently, our inventory is completely Russian, but our future lies there. So if at all they have to hurt us, they could hurt us in tariffs on that. But what we are doing, we also did very smart thing till now at least. Maybe we need to change strategy. We never bought anything strategically important from US with which they can blackmail us any day. We bought 777 howitzer guns, 155 guns, like, Bofors, we bought from Bofors long back. Same stuff we are buying from USN. Kalyani Group can make it here, L&T can make. We have Tata, so many guys are making in this country. But still we are buying there because we need to show that, look, we are interested in you, we are engaged in you. We are buying General Atomics Reaper drones. Now, these Reaper drones were sitting ducks for Yemeni Houthis, right? They are good in uncontested airspace. I'm sure you understand this term, uncontested airspace. So they could go do whatever they wanted in AFPAC region because they were never challenged. But when they entered the space of Yemen, they were shot down. Even one Reaper drone which was given to us on hire, that crashed out. So, but still we bought, right? Vivek Lal, Modi ji went and met him, and that's not a strategic asset for us. We are ourselves producing a lot of varieties of drones, from kamikaze drones to surveillance to loitering to what have you, swarm drones. We are producing everything in this country. So US can't even give us that. And their F-35, which they offered, is again a white elephant. It's maintenance, it's cost. We will not be so stupid as to get into it. But for a strategic partnership, we may end up buying one squadron, actually meaning nothing. But we need the technology for many other reasons. Surveillance, for instance, the basic exchange of information agreement that we signed just a couple of, 3-4 weeks before Trump, gave up his presidency last time. That helped us in handling Chinese PLA in Yangtze region of Arunachal Pradesh. We got the live feed from there, and our boys were hardly 5-6 on the border at that point. And so they were coming with a crowd of roughly 30-40 guys. We quickly mobilized another 40-50 guys, and we gave them, in Hindi we have this term, right? Muh tod jawab. We hit them so hard. There are unconfirmed reports that a couple of them had skull cracks and they won't survive. And we, could capture some of those guys, have a white flag meeting, and then we release them with a warning. So we need American help on many fronts. So US also is playing this game, in front of the cameras, you could do whatever it is. Back end, he's offering F-35s and offering high-end technologies because it is in the interest of USA. We will deal with whatever it is, right? We could shoot down F-16 with MiG-21. So we will do what it is. We are not overwhelmed by our enemies right now, be it China or be it Pakistan or whatever. But US wants to empower us, give us that capacity to deal with China. Because US is steadily declining and they are unable to really deal with this rising China. Unless they have a partner, a strong partner with them, they won't be able to tackle China. See, you've got Japan, Korea, Taiwan, Australia, all these guys in the Indo-Pacific. None of them can match the strength of our country. So for us, for US, Bharat is extremely crucial. That is why we are in both groupings. We are in Quad. And we all know about Quad, Japan, Australia, USA, and Bharat. And we are also in I2, U2. right? India,
Saudi Arabia.
USA, UAE, and Israel. That's right. So we are in that grouping and we are in this grouping. We are in both the groupings. So the
Yes.
point is, it is in American interest. They will give us the technology. We are good for it. I mean,
Yes.
we'll take it.
That's it. Gitaji, that's a good point because I'm coming back to the fact that he's going to put a kind of a barricade in front of the Chinese and say you can't dump stuff in the US anymore, if he's going to put the same thing before EU, both these countries will then, EU of course has a lot more nations than just countries. There are multiple of them across the NATO spectrum and the EU spectrum also. These combination of countries, including China, will have to find new markets. EU was here last week. The EU entire team from EU was here. They were talking about FTA with India, sealing it up by the year ending. It might now get hurried up a bit more. We also see China is making good noises with India. Do you think there will be a kind of a shift for these countries to tie up with India and try and access our big market, give us some good deals so that we can go ahead and work out free trade agreements or whatever kind of deals with both China and the EU countries? Do you think that will happen? Because that is one way to counter what US is doing. What's your opinion on that?
How ironic, right? It's the same Ursula von der Leyen, the queen, mighty queen, and her cohorts were passing resolutions against us about Manipur, right? And now they are licking our palms. So you can understand how desperate they are. And they don't have an army worth mentioning the name. You see, even the British army, how they were literally roasted in Basra, or for that matter in Afghanistan. It was the US who was just doing all the fighting. These guys are only there to deploy and all, right? And Germany sent people to sweep floors and things like that. They never sent any combat troops anywhere. So a good for nothing joke, literally. So today the point is that they need us. You see what has happened to the India UK free trade agreement. Multiple prime ministers came and went, but they could not sign. The problem is they're okay with illegal immigrants to come into their country, but they don't want Indian or people with smarter knowledge base to come into their country. They're threatened by it. They want to use us as their technology coolies, agreed. But the hypocrisy of the West is such that they are unable to agree on a labor movement. And we are insisting that unless this is agreed upon, we are not going to sign any FTA. We could sign an FTA in a jiffy with people like UAE and so many others, right? So, but this is not happening. Von der Leyen can talk what she wants, but it's not going to happen because there are certain things which we will not agree to. Another most important and sticky point for the FTA not to go through is their insistence on dumping their agricultural products onto us, which we are not going to buy. It will hurt our farming sector. Second, some of that are very dangerous also, toxic, because they have done genetically modified stuff, and we don't know what the processing has gone through. So that they want to dump onto us. So you see, Ursula von der Leyen spoke about how the liquor, all that has to be taken at a cheaper pricing and all that stuff. So we might do that to the Americans, but we may not, offer the same privilege to the Europeans. So there are 2-3 sticky points in that, and it's not going to work. Now the point for them is China earlier, of course, China, they were so beholden to China. China was buying out everything from them, your Volkswagens and what have you. Today, China doesn't need any of them. China has sufficient. In fact, they have huge surplus. They don't know what to do with their own BYD cars, which are just lying idle. One of the best cars in the world, they're just lying in the yards. Nobody's buying. So why do they need to buy your Volkswagen? And even your machines and other things which you're supplying, China has not duplicated them, and they're able to supply to the whole world. Second, Chinese economy itself is on the downslide. So the consumption in China has slowed down. They are not consuming, especially the luxury brands of Europe. They had the largest market in China, and that has gone down because Chinese are struggling to stay afloat today. Their population has dwindled like crazy, and they're sitting on a huge excess capacity. And there are tariffs coming on to them from many countries, either physical, economic, financial tariffs or soft tariffs. Like, for instance, we also did, right? When the Chinese ship came, we didn't clear, customs clearance was not done for 2 months, 3 months. We frustrated them. right? So many things happen. It's happening across the globe for them. So China is not a sustainable, viable, long-term solution for them. Yes, even now they're selling a lot, but that's not going to continue for a long time. So we become extremely crucial. So Modi is playing the ball. He gave her a royal welcome, photo op, Hyderabad house. But then subtly we indicated, we made them go through, sit in that bus, hydrogen bus and go. And we told them that, look, we have better technology than you. Now don't tell us that we got to buy your Volkswagens. You better buy our vehicles. He's sending that kind of a message. The point is, we will be nice to these guys, but I don't expect FTA to go through anytime soon unless they come down from their pedestal. And mighty Empress Wonderland will have to start smelling the earth, smelling the coffee. Only then she'll get something from us.
Girdharji, interesting point about FTAs with EU and China. The question is also, Trump is so unpredictable that what he says today and what he says tomorrow, and we saw that with Ukraine. At least he stuck to his position with Ukraine. It was very clear that he's not going to deal with Zelensky unless he comes down his high horse. I mean, he held it. I mean, whatever one might say about Trump, he stuck to that point. It was very clear about it. The point is tomorrow. I mean, the world was so predictable. We had WTO, we had GATT, we had all that stuff. Now there is no such thing. I mean, tomorrow UN may not exist for all you know. WHO may not exist. Is Trump now literally changing the world order? I know he'll be there only for the next 3 years and maybe 11 months now. But I think his successor, Ms. probably JD, wants also things on similar lines. Do you think the time has now come that Trump is wanting to make America great again? But with that, he's going to take down a whole lot of nations which were sitting on a kind of comfortable perch, and suddenly they find that this gentleman is absolutely unpredictable, and God knows what he'll do in the next day or the next hour. That is what it is. Do you think that Trump has brought that fear of God into all these people?
Well, Sureshji, I suppose you could see the contradiction in your own question, for instance. You said it's unpredictable. But on the same measure, you said his approach to Ukraine didn't change, didn't budge. Right? So I would rather say Trump is extremely predictable. There is no unpredictability about it. He is doing exactly what he's saying. Right? So, we have already seen him in his first term. We have seen him as a businessman, and we know what he's going to do. So he is a transactional guy. So we all know that. Second, he always takes a maximalist position from where he would be able to bargain something out and he'll come somewhere halfway and then close it. So we all know that. That's the reason why Modi ji has played to the gallery, played to his ego, and we managed it. In fact, maybe it's just a joke, but then Trump admitted there is no contest when I, talk to Modi ji, bargaining with him. There's no contest. Yeah. So the point is that he is extremely predictable. Point is, what he's talking actually makes sense, and that is exactly what should have been done by the previous administrations. Now, UN is dead. Long live UN now. It's been dead long back. It's just nothing but a chatterbox house, talking club, nothing more. Any resolution that comes out of UN, nobody cares. Right? You see, even forget about Israel. Israel, of course, doesn't care for any of their resolutions. That's a different thing. But even a piddly company like Sri Lanka just ignored it when they were hauled up for so-called human rights abuses when they eliminated LTTE. Right? So no country has any respect for UN. But people like Ted Ross and others keep needling, keep meddling and all. They keep doing some nonsense. But USA itself and NATO and European Union never cared for UN. The rules-based order they all talk about, they are the first ones to break them, right? So what authority they had to go into Afghanistan, a sovereign state? What authority they had to go and attack, Saddam Hussein? Who are you? Where are the weapons of mass destruction? Who are you to go and handle Omar Gaddafi?
Sure.
Right? So the point is, UN should sanction any of these countries. Who are you to sanction countries? The point is, they are the ones who break the rules-based order with impunity, and they give moral lectures to other countries. So the point is that Trump is just showing a mirror to their own hypocrisy, right? So first time in American history, he has voted along with Russia on this Ukraine war in UN General Assembly.
True.
So you
True.
see where he's going at, right?
I think,
And
yeah,
let's use the term MAGA, make America great again. Show me one president of USA in the known history, let's say 150 years. Show me one president whose policy was not make America great again. Every American president will have the same story. It is always America first. You tell me in the Second World War, UK was the predominant power in the world, right? Empire where the sun never sets. What happened after the Second World War? Who finished off the British Empire? It was the Americans. Who were the, how did they transfer the entire wealth of these colonies of the Britain to USA? The US. So
true.
the point is, the so-called allies are never allies. You know, for them, they have no allies, no friends, no. Everybody is only there to serve the interests of USA.
There are
Donald
no
Trump has
permanent.
been blunt, undiplomatic, and is just open. But the rest of them did exactly the same. Who gave the authority to Bush to walk into Baghdad, right? So the point is, it's always been that, nothing different. So he has not brought something strange or something different. It's always been that. While being in NATO, it is the US which has used NATO, but hardly cared for it. What Trump is now talking is bringing logic. Even according to NATO's charter, you guys are supposed to spend at least 2.5% of your budgets on defense. So why are you, enjoying on my taxpayers' money? You guys start spending it. Suddenly, you see a flurry of guys now announcing it. Germany announced it. Now UK, Keir Starmer's announced it. So suddenly, these guys have realized that we need to spend.
Yeah,
right? Who wants you to not spend it all this while?
I think
you took America for granted. America किसी का नहीं है, किसी की सगाई की नहीं है. We'll say in Hindi, right? So these guys are like they only look at their interests and they have no friends, no allies. Britain always behaved as if it was 51st state of USA.
So,
but whereas Trump said Canada is my 51st.
Canada is a good one. They're going to take Greenland tomorrow. Panama Canal is theirs. I think great. Giridharji, as usual, you have kind of laid bare the entire facts of this particular dimension of politics that is playing out from Washington to Kiev to London to Paris to everywhere. I think that's wonderful. I mean, the world has changed so much in the last, say 4 weeks, and God knows what is going to lie in store in the days to come. I think the modern warfare is not about arms. I think it's about tariffs, and that is what is going to happen. Wonderful. Thank you for sparing the time and speaking to us. And I'm sure that there'll be so much happening every day that I may need to call you almost on an alternate day basis to speak on this and more. Thank you very much, Girdhaji. Namaskar.
We'll keep the conversation going. Namaste.
Thank you, sir. Namaskar. Jai Hind.